I'm going to quickly run you guys through 4 things that I do to give my Lumix GH5 footage more of a kind of cinematic look. And what I mean by cinematic is basically just a more polished and professional look from my GH5 footage. So the first thing I do, balancing out the exposure and the white balance of your image. So when you drag your clips into the timeline, you want to make sure that they all have an even exposure and that the white balance is pretty much neutral. So I do that using Lumetri Scopes. I look and make sure that the image is basically evenly spread out between 0 and 255. So the blacks and the whites are evenly spread out, and it basically just looks well exposed, and the white balance doesn't look either too warm or too cold. So trying to get your clips to a neutral starting point. I do that for all of my clips before I do anything else. From there, part number 2, you're going to want to add a consistent stylized look to your entire edit. So that's a mistake I see a lot of people make. One clip will be created in this kind of black and white way, and then the next one looks kind of sepia tone. You know, if you don't have a consistent look throughout your whole video, it's going to cheapen the way your video looks. So you need to pick one consistent stylized look for your entire video. And I have my 100 GH5 LUT pack, which is linked below. And basically, if you want to drag and drop some different stylized looks on your footage and instantly get a cool look, you can check that out. But I also have free tutorials on my YouTube on how I make some of those looks, so you can check out how to make a stylized look for your GH5. But very important, pick one consistent look for your entire film. It'll just make it look a lot more cinematic and basically a lot more professional. Number 3 is throwing on some cinematic widescreen bars, which, I don't know, it's a debated topic. Some people think that it's kind of lame and cheap, but honestly, I use that on a lot of our client work, and I do find that it does give it kind of a more of a cinematic feel, just because that's how films look in the theaters typically. So yeah, hop into Premiere and throw on some widescreen bars, and instantly your B-roll will kind of look more professional. You guys can debate that in the comments if you think that's dumb, but I do use that technique quite often. And number 4 is throwing some sort of vintage grain on your footage. This won't be for every project, but for some projects I throw a little bit of grain, overlay it over my footage, and find it gives a really nice cinematic look to my footage. Some of the footage you're seeing right here, all of my chili videos have that. I have 2 cinematic grain overlays included in my GH5 preset pack, which is also linked below, but you can probably find some good grain overlays for free online. So that was just a quick video, 4 ways that I make my GH5 footage look a little bit more polished and professional. It works for all cameras, of course. I've done this with my GoPro footage as well. Leave a comment below if you want me to do any more GH5 tutorials in the future, and I'll see you guys on the next video.